She walked away richer. The courtroom. Abeni sat in the courtroom, her hands trembling, not from fear, but from the finality of it all. Across the room, Musa lounged in his chair, grinning like a man who'd already won. He tapped the pen against the table twice before signing the divorce papers with a theatrical flair. Finally, he said with a chuckle, "Free from your dead weight." Silence. The judge cleared his throat. "Before we proceed," he said, flipping through a document, "there's one last financial disclosure." With every word that followed, Musa's smirk began to falter. Because Abeni wasn't walking out empty-handed, she was walking out richer. The beginning. She had met Musa when she was just 22. Bright-eyed, full of dreams. She believed in building a future with him. While Musa chased the vision of starting his tech company, Abeni quietly buried her own dream of launching a fashion brand. She worked long hours at the bank by day, cooked and cleaned by night, and still found time to encourage him. When they couldn't make rent, she sold her jewelry without complaint. "If he rises, we rise together," she had told herself. That was love. That was partnership. She never saw it as weakness, just loyalty. But while she lifted him, Musa forgot who helped him rise. The fade. When Musa's startup finally took off, the world noticed. He became the man of the hour, interviews, conferences, cash. But as his world expanded, hers shrank. The man who once held her hand now walked ahead like she was invisible. At parties, he no longer introduced her as his wife, just someone who helped around. Strangers clapped for his success, unaware that the woman serving them drinks had once been his backbone. And then came the moment that broke something inside her. One night, in front of friends, Musa laughed and said, "Abeni. That was just a face." They all laughed. No one saw the way she froze, tray in hand, smile cracked. That night, she didn't cry. But something inside her shifted. The awakening. It happened quietly. Another late night, another loud phone call. She hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but Musa's voice carried down the hall. "She's sweet," he said. "But I deserve better now. A woman who matches my level." That was it. No tears. No shouting. Just stillness. She walked to the room that once held her dreams. Her old sewing space. Dust covered the laptop. But when she turned it on and opened a folder titled Dream Designs by Abeni, her past greeted her like a long-lost friend. Bright colors. Bold sketches. Untouched brilliance. And for the first time in years, she smiled. Not a smile of joy, one of quiet power. She had remembered who she was. The rebirth. Every night, after Musa fell asleep, Abeni became someone else. Sketching. Learning. Building. In silence. She launched a fashion brand under a pseudonym. ABN Studio. Orders began to trickle in. Praise followed. Investors took notice. All while Musa mocked women entrepreneurs on his podcast. "They're just playing dress up," he'd sneer. She sat quietly in the corner, pretending to scroll her phone, while his insults became fuel. She didn't build ABN Studio to prove Musa wrong. She built it to remember she mattered. Scene 6, the ultimate betrayal. One afternoon, she decided to surprise Musa at his office with lunch, just like old times. She stepped in and saw his secretary for the first time, clearly pregnant. The woman looked at her and laughed. "Oh, you're the wife. Wow. He told me you were just his sick cousin." Abeni stood still, foot still in hand, her heart still, and then turned around. Not because she was weak. Because she was done. That evening, she called her lawyer. "It's time," she said. "The storm rises." Musa laughed when she filed for divorce. Told his friends she'd come running back. planned to deny alimony to teach her a lesson. He didn't know. She had been preparing for this for 18 months. Building in silence. ABN Studio was no longer a side hustle. It was a brand, valued at over $18 million. The name ABN, the initials he never cared to ask about, was her new identity. The reveal. On the day of the final hearing, Musa entered like a king. Sunglasses. Arrogance. "She's got nothing," he told his lawyer. Then the judge asked, "Mrs. Abeni, do you have any financial declarations?" Abeni stood. "Calm. Quiet." She handed over a folder. Inside, business ownership papers, income reports, investment records. As the judge read through pages detailing ABN Studios' assets, the room grew heavy with silence. Musa's smile vanished. $18 million in valuation. International partnerships. Brand deals. ABN Studio wasn't just a name, it was a force. He whispered, stunned, "ABN Studio is yours." She turned to him, eyes clear. "It always was. You just never asked." The exit. She could have taken everything, the house, the cars, the watches. She didn't. She didn't want the house where she had once felt invisible. She didn't want the car he used to show off. She didn't want revenge. She wanted peace. And she had it. She walked out of that courtroom not with bitterness, but with freedom. She didn't need his name. She had made her own. The cover story. 6 months later. Musa sat in a waiting room for a business meeting. He absent-mindedly picked up a magazine. There she was. On the cover. Abeni. Dressed in rich African fashion. Powerful. Confident. Meet Abeni, the silent storm behind Africa's fastest growing fashion empire. The article told her story, her rise. Her silence. Her storm. He blinked, stunned. She hadn't just survived. She had soared. The final word. Elsewhere, Abeni zipped up her suitcase. She had just finished speaking at a women's leadership summit and was headed to Paris for Fashion Week. Her assistant walked in, holding the magazine. "You've seen the cover, right?" Abeni smiled softly. Then looked out the window and whispered. "They thought I was quiet. But I was just focused." She wasn't trying to prove anyone wrong anymore. She had become her own name. Her own power. Her own legacy.